Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's weather update. Multiple storms are currently impacting the lower 48 in the continental United States. And looking at the 18Z run of the North American model, we have rain and snow impacting the Pacific Northwest and a storm bringing heavy rain and flooding to portions of California and Arizona. Progressing the model through overnight tonight, our Pacific Northwest storm is going to bring snow across the northern central Rockies, while our southwest storm moves into the Four Corners, bringing snow into portions of Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, as well as rain. And then these storms are going to kind of merge together as we go into tomorrow afternoon, snow continuing across Montana and the Rockies. And then as we start going into tomorrow night, this is when our storms are really going to crank up across the Midwest, bringing heavy snow to Colorado, through Nebraska, through the Dakotas, possibly freezing rain in North Dakota, heavy rain across Texas through Kansas. Into Sunday morning, rain's going to spread across the South into the Midwest, heavy snow across the central northern plains into around 9 a.m. Central Time Sunday morning. And then this is going to continue through the day Sunday, rain moving across the central eastern portion of the country through Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, and Mississippi. And the snow is going to continue into all day Sunday across portions of North and South Dakota. Then, as we go into Monday morning, snow continuing across the northern plains, rain across the south and Midwest, while our storm system starts to deepen across the northern plains. Could be seeing a bout of heavy freezing rain across Minnesota, snow in the western part of Minnesota, southeastern South Dakota, eastern or southeast North Dakota, eastern South Dakota, going into Monday afternoon. And then our model run ends into Monday night with our storm intensifying across the northern plains with freezing rain and snow across the northern plains. So taking a look at our snowfall accumulation map in the North American model, we can expect a dusting of 2 inches of snow in some of these gray areas across the Rockies and Northern Plains. In the blue areas, 2 to 6 inches of snow in many areas of the Rocky Mountains. And then where our storm really gets going, in the purples and pinks, could be seeing a good 6 to 12 inches of snow in some of the Rockies of Colorado, portions of mountainous Arizona, and especially up towards southeastern North Dakota, western Minnesota, northeastern South Dakota through Nebraska. This is where we could be seeing a good 8 inches to 14 inches of snow. So make sure you're preparing for heavy snowfall, especially in the northern plains, as we go into Christmas Eve, especially. Now, taking a look at our ice accumulations, we could be seeing an ice storm with this storm. So we can expect a glaze to a tenth of an inch of ice potential across portions of North and South Dakota. However, across portions of Iowa, Minnesota, if this model run verifies, we could be seeing a good quarter to half an inch of ice in some locations across Minnesota, Iowa, and South Dakota. So make sure you're preparing for a potential ice storm Christmas Day and the day after Christmas across the northern plains. And looking at the rainfall accumulation map, looking at a good 1 to 3 inches from Texas through Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Iowa, and then up towards Minnesota. This is going to be snowfall equivalent. And then down towards Alabama, Georgia, could be seeing a good 1 to 3 inches as well. Pockets of 3 to 4 inches could result in some scattered flooding across, especially the south. So taking a look at our National Weather Service's watches, warnings, and advisories map, we have flood watches for south, central, and southeastern California, central, southwestern Arizona in the green, a flash flood warning in the Yuma area, and then multiple winter weather advisories across portions of the Rockies in the purples, winter storm warnings in the pinks for southwest Colorado, northern New Mexico, and mountainous areas of eastern Arizona, and dense fog advisories across much of Minnesota into the far eastern Dakotas, Iowa, northern Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan. Now, taking a look at our flooding outlook, There's a slight risk of excessive flooding rainfall across southeastern California through central southern Arizona today, including Tucson and Phoenix, and then marginal risk in the dark green surrounding that, extending into western New Mexico. Looking at tomorrow's excessive flooding rainfall outlook, it moves well to the east tomorrow, looking at a flood threat from across north central Texas, southern Oklahoma, with a slight risk and a marginal risk covering much of Texas, including Houston, Austin, San Antonio, up through Oklahoma City and Tulsa tomorrow. And then as we go into Christmas Eve, we have a slight risk across much of the South from the Florida Panhandle through southern Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, far east Texas, east Oklahoma, the western half of Arkansas, southwestern Missouri for Christmas Eve, with a marginal risk extending into the Central Plains. So this is a multi-day flooding threat going into Christmas Day, slight risk across southern Alabama, southern Georgia, the Florida Panhandle, with a marginal risk going across the southeast for Christmas Day. And then the day after Christmas, a marginal risk up and down portions of the mid-Atlantic. So this is going to be quite an impactful storm heading into Christmas. So make sure you're preparing for the storm if you live pretty much across most of the US, but especially across the Rockies and Northern Plains, as you're going to be dealing with a lot of wintry precipitation, especially going into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Thanks for watching this evening's weather update. Please stay safe and have a wonderful evening, my friends.